evening of April 20th, 2021. Would you read the roll?
Bowling.
Here.
Crombie.
Here.
Jacobs.
Here.
Yokish.
Here.
McElroy.
Here.
Walensky.
Here.
Stevens.
Here.
Stacker.
Here.
So we have all 8 of our city council members and we have a quorum, so we're ready to do business this evening. Would you rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States
of America, and to the
republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next thing on our agenda is the city clerk certification of 2 things, the April 6th election results and certification of municipal board of canvasser totals. Elena.
Thank you. On Monday, April 12th, 2021, the Sun Prairie Municipal Board of Canvassers met to certify the April 6th election. During that meeting, the board certified that Paul T. Esser was duly elected for mayor. Teresa McElroy was duly elected for District 1 alderperson. Bob Yokish was duly elected for District 2 alderperson. Mike Jacobs was duly elected for District 3 alderperson. Faustina Bowling was
Faustina.
Faustina, I'm so sorry. Thank you. Bowling was duly elected for District 4 alderperson. And then the board further certified that on April 6th, Sun Prairie had a total of 23,061 eligible voters who were registered to vote. There was a total of 5,168 ballots cast, which means we had a 22.4% turnout. And finally, of those voters, 2,675 were absentee voters.
Great. Thank you, Elena. So now we have received that from you. Next thing also involves you, Elena, it's ceremonial oath for newly elected officials.
Yes. So are we doing this kind of a communal, or are we doing it separately?
I think communal.
Okay.
If we were in person, we would do something more with it. We'd do some photos and things, but it doesn't lend itself well to this. If we get back in person before next April, then I'd like to gather us for a photo. But at this point in time, let's just do it in mass.
All right. So if I can have the 3 alderpersons and Mr. Mayor, you raising your right hand. And I'm going to try and guide everybody through the same thing here and just repeat after me. And please state your name.
I, Paul
I,
Esser,
Teresa McElroy,
Have been elected to hold office for a 2-year term.
Have been elected
been
to
elected
office.
to hold
to
office
hold
for a
office
2-year term.
term.
Commencing on April 21st, 2021. I'm sorry,
That's right.
April
That's
20,
right. So you-
2021. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
Commencing on April
20th, 2021.
21.
And ending, I'm sorry, I think I have this wrong. But it will be April. Pulled up the wrong one. I really apologize. I'm so sorry.
It's ceremonial. So let's say the 22nd, 2022.
All right. April 19th, 2022 for the position of
April 19th, 2022.
For the
For the
position of.
position of
and then you can name your
Alder.
alderperson for districts 1, 2,
Alder
3,
District
4, or
Alderperson.
mayor.
Alder
District
District
Mayor.
4.
Swear that I will support
swear that I'll
Swear that I will
Support.
support
the Constitution of the United States,
The Constitution of the
United States,
the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
The
Constitution of the State of
Wisconsin,
and the Charter of the City of Sun Prairie,
and the Charter of the
Charter
City
of
of
the
Sun
City of
Prairie,
Sun Prairie,
and will faithfully discharge
and will
And
and
will
will
faithfully
faithfully
discharge
discharge
the duties of said office
the
the
duties of
duties of
said
said
office
office
to the best of my ability,
to the best
To
of
the
my
to the best of
ability.
my ability.
so help me God.
So help me
So help
God.
me
Help me God.
Thank you, Elena. It might not have been our finest moment, but we got through it.
The
And-
ceremonial picture is on the way to all four of you.
I was
Yeah,
going to say it's a shared humanity moment. Thank you so much.
yeah, we're all into it. So now we're to the consent agenda. And if I could have a motion to approve the consent agenda,
Polinsky will approve the consent agenda.
thank you.
Jacob,
Is there a
second.
second? Somebody second? Jacob?
I'd like to remove an item.
Okay,
I would like to remove number 5D as in day, C as in cold.
C as in cold,
Yes,
the museum.
yes, please.
Okay, all right, so we'll pull out of the consent agenda and we'll deal with him separate. All right. All right. So with that, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 You worried me a little bit. Opposed, nay. So it passes. So I'm going to come back to the item that we pulled, but I want to let our audience know, since several of these items are agreements of individual petitioners, I want them to understand we have now just approved the item. I don't want them waiting through the end of this meeting. So we approved the Badger State Towing conditional use permit. Prime Global, we just approved resolution for a PIP. We just approved a resolution for the final plat of Smith's Crossing, and the applicant was VH Smith's Crossing. We have approved precise implementation plan for GNF properties. We have approved approving the authorization to file an urban service area amendment as requested by Chorus Development. And finally, we have the resolution approving the development agreement for the reserve for phase 3, and that is the reserve. So if you're listening or in the audience with us this evening for those items, they have been approved and that is taken care of. You don't need to stay. You're certainly welcome to. So now I'm going to go back to item 5DC, resolution approving a conditional use permit to allow an indoor institutional use children's museum at 1433 West Main. Is the motion to approve that? Kind of a quiet night here tonight. Is there a
I'll
motion
move
to
to
approve
approve.
the conditional use? Thank you, Steve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Bob seconds. We're into discussion. Teresa, you were the one that asked this to be pulled?
Yes, I was. Thank you. I just wanted to go on record. Everyone here, I think, knows that I worked significantly with this organization, and I am no longer on the board. I am in support of, but do not believe it's appropriate for me to vote on this item. So I just wanted to formally just use an abstention on this one.
Okay, all right. Is there any other discussion on this item? Steve?
Thank you, Your Honor. I would just like to thank Alder Stevens for all of her work on this and getting it basically to this point. I think great job. Looking forward to seeing this in our city, and hopefully it'll bring a lot of people into our city and share the good things we have. Great job.
Thanks.
Any other discussion on this item? Being none, Elena, would you read the roll?
Bowling,
Aye.
Crombie,
Aye.
Jacobs,
Aye.
Yokish,
Aye.
McElroy,
Aye.
Polensky,
Aye.
Stevens has abstained, and Stacker
Aye.
passed.
So that passes 8-0. So now we're moving on to citizen appearances and public comments. So Adam, we have, I think, 10 comments that have come into us through SurveyMonkey. And I'm going to read those into the record in a moment. I'm looking out here on the participants, and everybody's in the participant category. So I'm assuming, Adam, there is nobody that's in here to address us. Is that the correct interpretation?
That is correct.
All right. So then let me go to the comments that have come in by SurveyMonkey. And these all relate to items that are on the agenda this evening. So the first one is from Mahar Kut, lives at 2320 Colorado. And his item is in relation to the Colorado Commons project. You've got the development agreement on the agenda. We'll get to that in a little bit. And his comment is, we need a park sooner than later. Also entrance on North Thompson. The next one we have is from Janet Hanson, 185 Moreland Place. She's contacting us regarding Colorado Commons. Wildwood is a block with lots of children on it. The increased traffic of 284 vehicles on a short residential street is extremely dangerous. It would make the most sense to put the entrance on North Thompson. I oppose the entrance on North Wildwood. Third one is from Mary Sullivan, 172 North Mallard Drive, topic Colorado Commons, against drive on Wildwood. Next item is from Joshua Jesko, 213 Moreland Place. Those damn Colorado Common apartments is the item he wants to address on. And his comment is, why are you doing this? An apartment complex? Which one of you received the bribe money? This is such a departure from the town plan I looked at when I moved here. Every one of you should be ashamed. The next one, the fifth one, is from Haha Patel and on Walnut Hill Lane, and it's Agenda 8D, that's the Colorado Commons. And your comment is, or his comment is, heavy traffic, privacy concerns, increased crime, no safety for children. Sixth one is from Anthony M. Gasty from 2376 Sumac Lane, Colorado Commons. We do not want an entrance on Wildwood. And Amy Amagassi, 2376 Sumac Lane, Colorado Commons. Please do not put an entrance on North Wildwood. I have opposed this project since it was initially proposed. Our streets are not wide enough to handle the traffic from residents of the Colorado Commons. We will already be dealing with people parking on the street. I know there is underground parking proposed, but it will still happen. We already have to deal with looking at the humongous apartment complex that does not belong in our neighborhood. Please do not make it worse by making us deal with an entrance on Wildwood. And Jim McCourt, 2396 Michigan Avenue, Colorado Commons. Entrance should be on Thompson Road and not Wildwood. Fire and police both prefer that entrance for accessibility of emergency vehicles, and residents prefer to keep traffic off residential streets, which are too narrow for heavy traffic. Also, do not like three-phase plan that will take 3 years to complete, maybe more if not rented fast enough. And the park has been promised to gain approval is going to be last. And number 9, Bill Baker, 1005 Liberty Boulevard, 103, and it is 8FC. Let me look at that. 8FC is the refuge contract. And he says, congratulations, city council members, on their individual election results. Oppose the Pelletieri proposal, support Badgerland proposals. And number 10, this actually is Kathy Communo, 1312 Amhill Lane, Sun Prairie. She's talking to us about the Children's Museum, which we just approved. And she said it will be a fantastic asset to the Sun Prairie community. So that is the public comments that we have. So we have covered those in the agenda. And now we are going to move on to business of the mayor. And the mayor has a number of items. And so as you can see with us city council members, there are, I think, 55, 56 people on this meeting. Many of them city employees affiliated with the city, either because we're doing recognition of service, that's what I'm going to do next, service awards, or people that are retiring. So this is quite an eventful evening. I'm very, very excited when we do the service awards. I'm not as excited about the people leaving. Right in the center of my screen is Joe Heck from the dispatch. And I would see Joe in the parking lot of City Hall, and we would always talk about what's going on. I'm going to miss seeing you, Joe. So let me launch into these service awards. We're going to begin with the people that have 25 years of service. We're going to put up the screen. Okay, that's good. All right. And here they are. Scott Bartnick from the police department, Todd Anderson from engineering, Scott Nichols from the police department, and Jack Wilkinson from the police department, 25 years of service. 3 of them police officers, and then Todd. 20 years of service, Rachel Packard from the Media Center, Jennifer Nichols from the police department, Benjamin Plume from the police department, Chris Selzner from the attorney's office, Christina Lescal from the wastewater treatment plant, Steve Vernig from the Parks Department, and another police officer, Brian Waldra, as I said, from the police department. That's 20 years, now 15 years. Jeremy Rademacher, police department, Anna Taylor from the library, Lynn Montague from the library, Aaron Linsmeyer from the clerk's office, Tom Culbertson from public works. And 10 years, Sean Johnson, EMS, Tim Lamb, building inspection, Ryan Smith from the police department. And then 5 years, so these have all been people that some of us, they've all come on since I've been the mayor, and several of you have been the alders. I feel like we're getting old right in front of this. So in 5 years, Stephen Baker from the library, Elrado Rodriguez, Public Works, Sarah Michaelis from the library, Jeffrey Newhouse from EMS, Sarah Sauer from planning, Ashley Gullickson from the police department, Joseph Redholtz from Public Works, Sherry Bauman from the police department, Benny Even from wastewater treatment, Jesse Davella from the police department, Brian Regstad from the police department, Eric Jeffers from the police department, Ryan Barnes from the police department, Brittany Lowry from the police department, Melissa Carolla from the library, and Brian Vaughn from EMS. So for all of you, hopefully some of you are listening. We've already done the service awards. Maybe they've been distributed, but to all of you, I so much, and I know the council does as well, we appreciate your service to the city. You're the people that make this the great place to be. And we appreciate the service you've given us every day you've been with us. So thank you all, and congratulations on your service awards. Good to have you here, if you're here with us. So we appreciate what you've done. Now I'm going to move on to the retirees. And this is also an interesting list of people. So I did see Joe there. I saw Kathy here. So we've got some people here. So let's begin with those. And they're in order by, I'm not entirely sure, but they're here. So the first one on my list is, and there it is, Kevin Konopacki, police lieutenant, served the city for 17 years, retired on January 15th, 2021. And Kathy Sherry from the library, 19 years of service and retired April 2nd, 2021. Joe Heck, dispatcher, 20 years of service, Joe, retired on March 26, 2021. And Damian Verhelen, police officer, 23 years, and is retiring on April 27th, 2021, in about another week. And then Brian Teasdale, that Aaron let us know just recently, is retiring assistant police chief with 26 years of service. And Brian's date of retirement is June 18th, 2021. Now, unfortunately, with COVID, we haven't been having gatherings where we could celebrate this. And I miss having those. But for all of you that are here and we're recognizing your retirement, again, I see Joe and Kathy. Thank you very much for all the years you've served this community so faithfully and so well. Again, you make it the great place it is. It isn't us that make it, it's you doing your jobs well day in and day out. So thank you all very much and congratulations on your retirement.
We're gonna miss you.
I can vouch for retirement. It is a great thing. Kathy and Joe, I'm looking at your names there. It's a great thing. There's probably others and I just don't see you. So enjoy your retirement. You've never had a chance to, for most of us, when we come to retirement, we've never had a chance to do nothing. So you don't have to do anything. You get doing something in time, but don't rush into it. Don't take another job, for heaven's sakes. Don't do that. Run for public office in the community you live in. You will never be disappointed that you did that. So I'm now going to move on, and we have a host of proclamations too. It's amazing how these have all gathered together of late. So the first proclamation I have is for Public Safety Telecommunications Week. Well, Joe, you need to stay around for this because this is recognizing what you did. All right, don't go anywhere. So, whereas public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services and are the single vital link for our emergency responders by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information, and ensuring their safety. Whereas our city communications professionals are hidden behind the phones and radios that are used to coordinate our emergency responses on a daily basis. These people are key components in the successes of police, fire, and EMS responses. And whereas emergency call taking and dispatching is a unique skill set that is not easily mastered, as it comes with a great deal of stress and requires unconditional dedication. Communication specialists must adapt quickly and wear many hats to be successful. They must accept the emotional roller coaster that will come with each day they arrive at work. Their ability to stand steady in the face of situations they cannot control is unparalleled. And whereas the Sun Prairie Police Department is fortunate to have a communication staff that demonstrates all of these traits, the staff is a, truly dedicated group of people that are committed to the profession, department vision, mission, and core values. Each dispatcher exhibits compassion, understanding, and professionalism while on the job. And whereas it is important to recognize the value and the accomplishments of the communication professionals in Sun Prairie by joining the law enforcement profession to celebrate 2021 National Public Safety Telecommunications Week. Now, therefore, I, Paul Esser, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor, on behalf of the city of Sun Prairie, proclaim April 11th to the 17th, 2021 as Public Safety Telecommunications Week. So if we were meeting in person, I would be presenting this proclamation to someone. And I'm wondering if there is someone there from dispatch or the police department that is going to do this. There is Police Chief Mike Steffes. Mike, am I going to present this proclamation to you?
Sure, that'd be great.
I will present it to you and then I will ask you, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, I just want to thank our dispatchers. We talk about our mission of building relationships and solving problems, and they really are the problem solvers behind that microphone, behind that telephone. They're the first contact that our community has with our police department, many of them when they call in. So it's folks like Joe Hack and all of our other dispatchers. I just want to make sure that we thank and honor because they're truly an outstanding group to be able to work with every single day, and they deserve all of our praise. So thank you, Mayor.
Well said, Chief. Well, thank you, telecommunicators. We appreciate everything you do for us. Now we are going to go on and we are going to recognize a group of people that are instrumental in what's going on here, and that's municipal clerks. And we're going to do Municipal Clerks Week. So do you think, Elena, I'm presenting this to you? Have you worked that out amongst everybody?
Yes, and I think Jennifer is here as well.
Okay, all right. So, and Aaron, we had on the service awards, didn't we?
Yes.
So we've got the whole department represented tonight. So
Yep.
This is Municipal Clerks Week. Whereas the time-honored role that professional municipal clerks play in local government and elections administration is critical to the endurance and prosperity of our state. And whereas our state's 1,854 professional municipal clerks strive to always be impartial in handling official duties, guided by the overarching goal of providing equal treatment to all Wisconsinites, regardless of political affiliation. And whereas among the numerous vital responsibilities, professional municipal clerks serve as the official record keepers of their respective municipalities and are tasked with ensuring transparency and communications between the governing bodies they represent and the folks they serve. And whereas professional municipal clerks provide essential support in the administration of elections, often preparing ballots, training election officials, and tabulating and certifying in the face of uncertainty and unprecedented challenges to election administration, especially over the past year due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Our professional municipal clerks never fail to display courage, flexibility, resilience, and dedication to the doctrine of free and fair elections. Whereas this week, the state of Wisconsin joins all Wisconsinites in appreciating and thanking our professional municipal clerks for the important work they do. Now, therefore, I, Paul Esser, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor, on behalf of the city of Sun Prairie, hereby recognize the week of May 2nd to the 8th as Municipal Clerks Week. Elena and Aaron and Jennifer, I see, Elena and Jennifer and Aaron, we appreciate what you do for this community. Things would not go the way they are. They would not go smoothly. We would soon be in hot water with as complicated as elections have become. But elections, you have a lot of visibility. It's the day-to-day things I see you doing in the clerk's office that goes unnoticed by us, but so much goes through there and through your office. It's amazing. So, Elena, I am presenting this proclamation to you with the thanks of the community and of us here in this meeting. Do you have some things you would like to say?
I just want to thank you for taking the time to recognize our profession for this week. It's funny. We're also very, very proud of our profession, but the number one thing that happens whenever I tell someone I'm a city clerk, you usually met with a question of, and what is that? So we take a lot of pride in what we do. We do sit in the back seat. We just try to support the council and our communities, and we're very proud to do it. So thank you so much for taking the time to.
You're welcome. Somebody told me one time that the city clerk's office was the front door of democracy. And I like that one. I think it's got an interesting ring to it, but that's so true, so true. Yeah. Well, the next proclamation I have is a little bit different. It's kind of a fun one, but we in the city of Sun Prairie are joining in with many other communities around the United States trying to look out for monarch butterflies. We're all aware that the population has been dropping radically in the last 20 years, I'm going to say here. So there's a group, it's Mayors for Monarchs or something. Jennifer would know, she helped me with this, but it seemed like a good cause for us to get into. So I asked her to put this on the agenda. So whereas the monarch butterfly is an iconic North American species whose multi-generational migration and metamorphosis from caterpillar to butterfly has captured the imagination of millions of Americans. And whereas the monarch butterfly population has declined at an unprecedented rate in the last 20 years. And whereas habitat loss, pesticide use, and a changing climate all impact monarch populations. And whereas the city of Sun Prairie recognizes that human health and sustainability depend on healthy and balanced ecosystems. And whereas cities, towns, and counties throughout the country are taking action to help the monarch butterfly. And whereas to help save the monarch butterfly, the city of Sun Prairie will join the mayor's Monarch Pledge and encourage residents to learn about the conservation of monarch butterflies and how they can make a difference by planting native milkweed and nectar plants to preserve and strengthen the monarch butterfly and all pollinators. Now, therefore, I, Paul Esser, by virtue of the authority invested in me as mayor, on behalf of the city of Sun Prairie, do hereby commit to the mayor's Monarch Pledge to help restore the habitat for monarch butterfly and encourage residents to do the same. So I have nobody to present this to, no monarchs in the audience, but it is certainly a goodwill effort on our part as the city. Certainly something. And now the next two proclamations are going to employees that took on a special role for us with the Sustainability Task Force. So I'm pleased that we're able to do this. So first of all is Jeremy Kramer, our manager of the wastewater treatment plant. Whereas Jeremy Kramer joined the city of Sun Prairie as wastewater treatment director on August 19th, 2019. And whereas in March of 2020, the Common Council created the Sun Prairie Task Force on Sustainability to assist the city in identifying sustainability goals and objectives. And whereas local leaders and advocates were convened for the purpose of creating a vision for sustainability and developing strategic goals to meet the vision. And whereas over the past year, Jeremy Kramer served in an important role as co-facilitator of the task force, and whereas Jeremy Kramer has greatly contributed to the task force while also overseeing a $19.9 million plant expansion to better serve our growing community. And whereas Jeremy Kramer has made a lasting contribution to the city of Sun Prairie and its residents in the pursuit of a more sustainable Sun Prairie. Now, therefore, I, Paul Esser, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor, on behalf of the city, do hereby thank Jeremy Kramer for his dedication and service with the Sustainability Task Force. So, Jeremy, I see you on my screen. You're right next to Sarah, so that's perfect. So, Jeremy, I am presenting this proclamation to you. It's already been created and signed in the clerk's office, so you may even have it in your hand already, but it is coming to you. And thank you, Jeremy, for doing that. When we started out with this Sustainability Task Force, we wanted to have somebody to facilitate it. It was Mike Jacobs' wish. Mike was the one that had the energy for this, but we didn't want to engage a consultant that we were going to pay and they were going to give us some, set agenda on this thing. We wanted to be able to do it on our own. We looked at a couple of places, pursued it, and didn't work out. And then we had the idea that we would ask Jeremy and Sarah Jeremy in the wastewater treatment plant deals with a whole lot of sustainability. And Sarah has a passion for sustainability and has experience in other communities. So, Jeremy, I'm presenting this to you. Would you like to say anything to us?
I would. Mayor Esser, thank you. And thank you, Alder Jacobs, for having me on that committee. I also want to thank Sarah and Sandy. Those two have been phenomenal, just great team players on this whole project. It's been about a year-long task force, and it's some great people on that task force as well. So it's been fun. So thank you all.
Mike, would you like to say anything, Mike Jacobs, as we're doing these?
Yeah, it's not false modesty to say that without Jeremy and Sarah and Sandy, this really wouldn't have gone on. Organized and innovative and always on task. Thank you so much.
All right. And now we're going to move on to Sarah's proclamation as well. And this is a little bit different. Sometimes they're the same. When I do these with scouts, sometimes they all say the same things. And then Gary Hebel's saying the same thing I'm saying. And so it's like an echo. But this time we're unique. So whereas Sarah Sauer joined the city of Sun Prairie on May 2nd, 2016. So we just did your service award this evening, Sarah, when she was hired as a planner. And whereas in March of 2020, the Common Council created the Sun Prairie Task Force on Sustainability to assist the city in identifying sustainable goals and objectives. And whereas local leaders and advocates were convened for the purpose of creating a vision for sustainability and developing strategic goals to meet the vision. And whereas Sarah Sauer has been an instrumental part of the task force work as a co-facilitator. And whereas, in addition to continuing her work and duties as a city planner, Sarah Sauer has tremendously contributed to the work of the task force. And whereas Sarah has made a lasting contribution to the city of Sun Prairie and its residents in pursuit of a more sustainable Sun Prairie. And now I, Paul Esser, by virtue of the authority vested in me on behalf of the city of Sun Prairie, do hereby thank Sarah for her dedication and service with the Sun Prairie Sustainability Task Force on Sustainability. So Sarah, I am presenting this to you, but you will actually get one that is official and has been signed. And I know, because I see you on the Plan Commission, how busy you are with your work, as I see with Jeremy when I go down and visit his $19.9 million plant expansion, how busy you are, Sarah, and yet you have made time for this task force twice a month for a year. So I appreciate yours and I appreciate Jeremy's. We asked you to do something out of the ordinary, and I hear from Mike that you did stellar work, both of you, with this. So thank you, Sarah. It is a pleasure to work with you on this and the plan items, and Jeremy the same. Sarah, do you have some things you'd like to say?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to echo everything Jeremy said. Thank you to Jeremy as well. It's been an amazing honor and privilege to work alongside him and his experience and moving forward with this. And Sandy and Alder Jacobs, Aaron, all of our task force who've been there. And it wasn't always easy, but I think as we round it out here in the next few weeks, it's been pretty impressive working with this group. And I'm very excited to see how sustainability moves forward in the city.
Good for you. And Mike, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, I want to say one thing about Sarah in particular. She says it wasn't easy. That's because she did all the paperwork. She managed all the things electronically. And yeah, it was, I know you heard the phrase herding cats, and that's really what it was. Thank you, Sarah.
And we should also, we debated about a proclamation for Sandy because she was so instrumental in what was going on. But we ended up, Jeremy and Sarah, feeling that you were taken entirely out of your functions that you were hired by the city for. We thought in the case of Sandy and Aaron, they were here to provide leadership and organization. And so they were doing that. So Sandy, if you're on, and Aaron, I can see you here. That's why you didn't get a proclamation, but we appreciate your efforts. And then there were other people too. There was Andy from the utility, Clint Cryer from the utility, and other people. So that will be coming to an end, as Sarah said, in the next few weeks, and then we'll have some new organization probably. But I think this is going to be one of those things in sustainability when Sun Prairie really catches up with what others in the county were doing. So, and we have a new sustainability coordinator joining us in July, right? So that's all good news. All right, I'm making this meeting even longer, so I'm going to move on to the next proclamation. This is on fair housing, and I believe Connie asked us to do this because it was a requirement for something that we needed to do. Is that right, Connie? Yeah, it was a requirement, but it's a nicely written proclamation. So I'm pleased that we do it. And we're just starting out now with our housing committee. And this really speaks to a lot of the things that I expect hopefully will come out as goals out of the housing committee. So whereas April 11th, 2021 marks the 53rd anniversary of the passage of the U.S. Fair Housing Law, Title 8 of the Civil Rights Act of 1968 as amended, which enunciates the national policy of fair housing. And whereas the Fair Housing Act prohibits discrimination based on race, color, national origin, religion, sex, disability, age, marital status, and familial status, and encourages fair housing opportunities for all citizens. And whereas the month of April is nationally recognized as Fair Housing Month, and a time to reflect on and reaffirm our commitment to fair housing for all. And whereas adequate housing is a basic need and a right of all people, and is vital to the health and well-being of our citizens and our community. And whereas discrimination in housing is against the law, and no person should be discriminated against in the sale, rental, or advertising of residential dwellings, in the provision of brokerage and lending services, or in the availability of any residential real estate transaction. And whereas fair housing laws are enforced through education, outreach, research, and direct assistance to persons alleging discrimination. And whereas it is declared to be the policy of the city to assure equal opportunity to all people to live in decent housing facilities and to prohibit discrimination in housing by any persons. And whereas the city encourages and supports fair housing practices, and in order to heighten public awareness, the city of Sun Prairie pledges its commitment to fair housing options and celebrates the value of harmonious and diverse communities by promoting fair housing law. Now, therefore, I, Paul Lesser, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2021 as Fair Housing Month, advocating for equal housing opportunities for all citizens and prospective residents of the city of Sun Prairie. So Connie, I'm presenting this to you. Maybe you already have it because I think you needed it for a filing. So does it say everything, or do you have some things you wish to add to this for us?
It says everything that I would like to bring forward. We are doing a little bit of a public relations campaign right now. It did go into the Clock Tower News. It's in the proclamation today, and it will be in, Sandy will know more than I think it's getting published in, I forget where, tomorrow. So it is a small public relations project right now.
Yeah, but I liked what it said about our commitment in Sun Prairie. That's what I hope will come out of the housing study, that we will make that commitment as a policy of the city of Sun Prairie. Thank you, Connie. So the final one is for Arbor Day, and so I'm sure there's nobody here for Arbor Day, although maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe, oh, Kristen, are you going to get this? You're going to do Arbor Day?
And I have Cindy
Okay.
Bertley, brand new, our Parks and
All right.
Board city manager. Yep.
She's on with us? Is that what you're saying?
Yep,
Well,
she
what
is.
we should do, oh, there, hi Cindy. So when I finish this one, I'm going to introduce Jake King, but before, after I get done here, Kristen, would you introduce Cindy to us? And then Cindy will ask you just to take a few minutes and tell us about why you came to this position in Sun Prairie and what you hope to accomplish. And Cindy already lives in Sun Prairie. Kristen can explain how we became acquainted with her. So let me do the Arbor Proclamation. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agricultural Day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed on the last Friday of April each year throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and beautify our communities. Now, therefore, I, Paul Esser, Mayor of the City of Sun Prairie, do hereby proclaim the City of Sun Prairie celebrates Arbor Day on Friday, April 30th, 2021. So, Kristen, I am presenting this to you, and would you say some words to us?
Sure, thank you. So Sun Prairie, we are in our 27th year of being a Tree City USA, and that's a really big accomplishment. The Tree City USA designation really demonstrates a city's commitment to managing and expanding their urban forest. And so I just want to take a real quick moment and just stress the importance and value of our urban forest. So actually, according to the Council of Tree and Landscape Appraisers, healthy mature trees value can be estimated between $1,000 and $10,000. And so with our tree inventory having well over 12,000 trees, it makes it what I believe to be one of the city's most valuable assets from a financial standpoint, but also arguably more importantly, our most valuable asset from an environmental and just a biological standpoint. So as you mentioned in the proclamation, there's many benefits to having a robust urban forest, and Sun Prairie is really fortunate to have a strong commitment and intentionality behind our management of our urban forest. And that's really evident through the council's investment in a full-time arborist position, which is out for recruitment right now. Our implementation of a GIS asset management program for our public trees, our current forestry operating budget, which helps us train and educate our crew on proper tree care, EAB treatment, and a robust annual tree planting program. We planted over 700 trees last year, and we'll be planting over 500 this year. And just lastly, I have a shameless plug for Saturday. Park Rec and Forestry's teamed up with the Sun Prairie Parks Friends and the YMCA. We are doing a Earth and Arbor Day celebration, park cleanup and tree planting. We right now have over 125 volunteers. We filled up all of our volunteer spots. They'll be mobilizing throughout the city in our park system, doing some cleanup and planting over 20 trees in our park. So I think just that alone speaks volumes to our community's value of trees in general, and just our park system. So happy Arbor Day.
All right. Well, thank you. So Sarah, or Kristen, would you introduce Cindy to us and tell us how she came here, and then we'll hear from her.
Yeah, thank you. So Cindy Bertley is our new Parks and Forestry Division Manager. Nothing like throwing her in the fire. This is day 2 for her. So Cindy came to us she actually submitted an application to be on our Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Commission. And we didn't have any spots available, but the board for the Parks Friends was looking for more directors for their board. So I got kind of in the mix and saw Cindy's resume and thought, she's got a really impressive background and would be really great for our department, well, just our city in general for some of these initiatives, like just even the Tree City USA and just some natural parkland restoration projects. So Cindy comes to us from the Wisconsin Public Service Commission, just a really interesting background. And I think it's a unique skill set, something that we haven't seen in our department. So I'm really, really excited about what she can offer.
Perfect. Would you like to say hello, Cindy, and then we'll let you off the hook? I didn't realize this was day 2. We usually give people a few more days. Jake's had 2 weeks.
Thanks. Yeah, so I'm Cindy Bertley. I'm, the new Parks and Forestry Division Manager, and I'm very excited to join the team in the city. I live in Sun Prairie. I've been here for about 4 years. I have a bachelor's of science degree from Stevens Point in forest ecosystem restoration and management. I have a master's in forest growth dynamics from UWGB. Big Packer fan. Grew up in Wisconsin. Worked for the DNR. Spent the last 7 years working for the Public Service Commission, learning a lot about utility projects and environmental permitting and all that stuff. And strong passion in, land restoration and recreation, and ready to help wherever I can be useful.
Oh, great. Thank you for that, Cindy. Thank you, Kristen. So now we're going to move on. I want to introduce you to Jake King. Jake joined the city on March 29th as the Communications and Diversity Strategist, a position that I'm very enthusiastic about. And I've had a chance to meet with Jake and been very impressed with him and his background, but also his personality. He's an easy person to talk to, and that's so important. He works with Sandy, for Sandy, I guess. I don't know if you say that anymore, Aaron. I'm never sure of the terminology nowadays. I'm too far back when those were expressions we made and they made sense, but maybe they don't today. But Jake is with us here this evening. I saw him before. There's Sandy there with us. And Jake is here with us somewhere. There is Jake. And I see him in my view. And I asked him if he would spend some time talking with us. And I saw in the press release that Sandy put out when he came that his objective was developing strategies and collaborative opportunities to engage the city's communication effort and achieve its diversity and inclusion goals. That sounds like a good one-sentence explanation. But Jake, I'd like to hear from you about your aspirations with this position and maybe what brought you here.
Well, thank you for the kind words, and I will keep this short and sweet. And this is my first time not attending a city council meeting, but it's my first time doing it through Zoom. So I hope to meet everyone in person, and hopefully that will change. So yeah, this is week 4 for me, and I've learned a lot and I've met a lot of different people, and I've been asking a ton of questions and people have been gracious. So future plans that I really want to do, of course, I really want to highlight our diverse community members and the contributions that they offer the community of Sun Prairie. So I'm right now working and talking with the Sun Prairie Media Center to do Sun Prairie Stories, which is just a way to highlight and tell the stories of our different residents. Mental health is a really big, important thing to me, and that's kind of what drew me and got me integrated with Sun Prairie. I was coordinating crisis intervention team trainings with the Sun Prairie Police Department and other law enforcement agencies. So mental health is really important, and I really want to do programming and services around mental health and the intersection of communities of color. And right now, I know I'm working with Sandy and Brenda and HR to do an equity audit to figure out internally where are some of the areas of improvement we can do. So I really like the Sun Prairie community, and I'm happy to be a part of it and keep learning about it every day.
Great. Well, it's good to have you with us, Jake. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you, Sandy. All right, we are going to move on now to committee reports, and this is where it gets a little awkward. We assign people to some of these duties this evening, and others will not come until the next meeting when I give you the appointments to approve. So the first one's coming out of the committee of the whole. We now have a new council president. So we shifted horses in the middle of the stream, unlike what they recommend. So Steve, I would like you as the new president to present us with the items coming out of the committee of the whole. I should
Okay.
warn you of that. I didn't with Bob, and I promised him I would never do that again, and now here I am. But I distinctly remember doing that last year with Mary, so, you know, it's a
Okay.
steep learning curve here.
Let me find that.
So I can get you going on the first one while you're looking.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
resolution approving the election of the council president, vice president, representative to the utilities, to the plan commission, and to the fire advisory. So you want to make a motion to approve on that one, Steve?
Yes, I would like to make a motion to approve the appointees.
Okay. And is there a second?
Second.
And discussion on that item? Is there any discussion? Being none, Elena, let's do the roll.
Bowling,
Aye.
Crombie,
Aye.
Jacobs,
Yep.
Yokish,
Aye.
McElroy,
Aye.
Polensky,
Aye.
Stevens,
Aye.
Thacker.
Aye.
So that passes 8-0. The second one, Steve, you're very familiar with this one. It is the resolution approving waiving permit fees for lead lateral replacement projects.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Yeah, this came up in our committee of the whole meeting this evening, and the motion was to waive those fees on I believe it was a 5-3 vote. Is there any discussion before we make a motion?
I think we should make the motion and then we'll go into discussion. So if you
Okay.
would make it,
Yes, I would like to make a motion to approve.
and is there a second?
McElroy seconds.
And now we're into discussion on that.
I believe Alder Stevens had her hand up.
Teresa?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I was going to make a motion to table this or refer it back to committee of the whole because we had not really finished our debate. It was cut short due to time constraints. And while I understand that we are just talking about not charging these fees, there was a lot of other commentary around this and what's going to lead with this larger project that I do believe warrants that conversation and debate. And furthermore, that conversation never really talked or addressed the actual fees. That part was maybe the last 2 minutes before we had to end our meeting. So that was my intent and why I wanted to try to get the floor first.
Okay, so what is your,
I would like to refer this back to committee of the whole so we can finish.
okay, all right. Is there a second on that?
I will second, based on the fact that we had 3 people pass the initial vote. I don't think that's ever happened. So clearly people had their minds made up.
All right. So Mark, in a case where it's a motion to refer, do we go into discussion on that? There's some of these that are different.
You can have some discussion
Okay.
about whether or not it makes sense to refer it back to the committee, or if you'll discuss such things as going back to the committee. Can you have the discussion here at the city council, a common council level just as well? There may be differences of opinion. I would say one thing, we should not table this. We should either refer it back, or we should, if we keep it here at common council, set it for a specific date in the future where it would come back before the body.
And we should limit our discussion to the action of referring it back, right? Not to the substance of the resolution.
You're going to be talking about the pros and cons of sending it back. You might stray into the item itself, but this is really about whether or not you should keep it here or send it back and what reasons you have for it.
So might you be suggesting, Mark, we could do the additional discussion right here this evening if we wish?
Well,
On the,
I'm saying that, well, you could have discussion tonight at Common Council level. I think Alder Stevens has talked about putting it on a different time so that people have a chance to become more fluent with the issues that are relevant to this item. So I guess, I think there are 2 or 3 different options, and it depends on what sort of motion is being made and what the pleasure of the body is. So I don't say that you must discuss tonight by any means.
so the motion that is made and seconded is to refer it back to the committee of the whole. That's acceptable?
That's how I understand it. And if that's the pleasure of the body, you can certainly do that.
Okay, so we're in discussion on that. Bob?
I'm maybe the one that brought up the issue of whether we should have everything on the table with sidewalks and trees. And I thought there was a compelling answer to that was provided, that taking care of the fees up front would be a logical approach to take, because those are the things that they pay early. And then also the fact that the point was made that perhaps the other costs of sidewalks and trees is not that substantial, but even if it is, we can deal with that later. I feel comfortable with voting on this item right now. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Terry?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Also, with the permit fees, as Rick Wicklund stated, people are signing up to get this done now, and we don't want to charge the permit fees and take a chance on those permit fees not going back to the homeowner. Where the trees and the sidewalks are concerned, I think that can be dealt with later. We don't know what each individual situation is going to be. I know of 2 instances at this point, one that involves a tree and one that involves a sidewalk. So I would suggest that we at least move forward on eliminating the permit fees. It's cleaner.
Any additional discussion on the motion to refer? Teresa?
If we already have 2 people who have taken care of their permits and 7 awaiting in the queue, that tells me that we already have 9 people who have wanted to take advantage of the grant program, who are ready to move and take care of this on their own accord. And I think compels me to continue to say, this isn't where we need to be. That we're already assisting with $2,000, that waiving another $200 here, and then I don't know how much on trees or sidewalks is truly unnecessary.
Any additional discussion?
Yes, I have one. This is for our new council president. You've heard misgivings of people about passing this tonight. It's time to show some leadership and say, yes, indeed, we should delay this.
Additional discussion? I see none. Elena, let's do the roll on this. This is on the motion to refer back to committee of the whole.
Correct. Okay. Bowling.
Aye.
Crombie. Crombie, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Aye.
Jacobs.
Aye.
Yokish.
No.
McElroy.
No.
Polensky.
Aye.
Stevens.
Aye.
Stocker.
No.
So it passes 5-3, so it gets referred back to committee of the whole, and will be on the next agenda, I would think. Okay, so now we are moving on to Plan Commission. Maureen, you were the Plan Commission representative of the council, and they selected you again. So it's your deal.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. On Tuesday, April 13th, the Plan Commission held a public meeting to consider a request by Colorado Avenue LLC for approval of a certified survey map to provide or to divide one 9.54 acre lot located west of North Thompson Road and south of Colorado Avenue, which is lot 108 at West Prairie Village, into 3 lots and 1 outlet for residential development and dedication of public parkland. The commission found that the proposed certified survey map is in compliance with requirements of the City of Sun Prairie subdivision ordinance, and it is in the best interest of the community and should therefore be approved. After carefully reviewing the request and then making its findings, the Planning Commission voted to recommend that the City Council conditionally approve the proposed certified survey map. And at this time, I'll make a motion that we actually conditionally approve the proposed certified survey map.
All right. Is there a second to that motion?
Jacobs, second.
And we're into discussion. Is there any discussion on that item? I don't see anybody. Elena, let's do the roll.
Bowling,
Can you repeat the motion, please?
Well, not the whole thing. It's a resolution approving a certified survey map for the Colorado Commons. So it's breaking it into sections.
Aye.
Okay.
Crombie,
Aye.
Jacobs,
Aye.
Yokish,
Aye.
McElroy,
Aye.
Walensky,
Aye.
Stevens,
Aye.
Thacker.
Aye.
And it passes 8-0.
Okay. The next item is on the same night, Tuesday, April 13th, the Plan Commission held a public meeting to consider a request by Colorado Avenue LLC for approval of a precise implementation plan to allow 108 unit multifamily development with clubhouse and underground parking located west of North Thompson Road and south of Colorado Avenue. The commission found that the request complies with the requirements of the general development plan and other applicable plans and regulations, provided the conditions of approval listed in the attached resolution that's in your packet are met in full by the applicant. After carefully reviewing the request and after making its findings, the Plan Commission recommended that the City Council conditionally approve the requested precise implementation plan. And I'll make a motion that we recommend conditional approval of the requested precise implementation plan.
Steven seconds.
All right, and now we're into discussion. And a precise implementation plan is the beginning of the development on that site. It's more specific is what's happening, Tina, on this one. Is there any discussion on this item? Because you'll have to be the first to vote. That's the wrong straw for you on the first night. There's no discussion. Elena, let's do the roll.
Bowling,
Aye.
Crombie,
Aye.
Jacobs,
Aye.
Yokish,
Aye.
McElroy,
Aye.
Walensky,
Aye.
Stevens,
Aye.
Thacker.
Aye.
And it passes 8-0. Now we're down to the Public Works Committee, and Steve, you're still the chair of that.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. First item is a resolution approving delaying 2 wastewater treatment plant projects and reallocating funds assigned to the purchase of a dump truck to upgrade 2 vehicles in the 2021 budget. On March 23rd, the Public Works Committee met to consider the request from Jeremy Kramer, who you saw on the call tonight, or on this meeting tonight. Jeremy has been very astute in watching out, as all department heads are, for city funds. And when he realized that there's a vehicle that doesn't have that many miles on it, because it only moves a few feet a day to take solids from one area to another, he said instead of replacing that, along with a couple other projects or a project or two, he could really utilize those funds towards a couple projects or a couple vehicles that were approved in this year's budget. So I fully approve this one. The committee approved this one. And I would like to make a motion to approve it at this body.
All right.
McElroy seconds.
Okay, thank you. So now we're into discussion on this resolution. Is there any discussion? I see none. Let's get the roll. City Clerk?
Bowling,
Aye.
Crombie,
Aye.
Jacobs,
Aye.
Yokish,
Aye.
McElroy,
Aye.
Polensky,
Aye.
Stevens,
Aye.
Stocker.
Aye.
And it passes 8-0.
Okay, next item is a resolution that is for the ordinance repealing and recreating section 10.12.010 for speed limits. And again, at the same meeting, council passed, we passed, at our meeting, we passed a resolution requesting that the DOT consider changing speed limits on Highway 19 between Grove Street and Town Hall. That item was referred to the DOT, and the DOT did some speed studies after a number of back and forth banters. The DOT did approve reducing the speed on that stretch where, as you recall, Julie Nelson was killed last year. That section between Highway N and Musket Ridge now will be reduced from 35 to 25 miles an hour, which complies with the Pedestrian Safety Task Force recommendation to make the Main Street corridor entirely 25 miles an hour. So I fully approve this one, as the committee did, and I would like to make a motion to approve.
McElroy seconds.
All right, and we're into discussion on this item. Is there any discussion? I see none. Elena, let's do the roll.
Bowling,
Abstain.
uh,
Can I do that?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep, you're good.
Crombie,
Aye.
Aye.
Jacobs, Yokish,
Aye.
McElroy,
Aye.
Polensky,
Aye.
Stevens,
Aye.
and Stocker.
Aye.
It passes 7-0 with one abstention. You get us trained, Elena. You won't even have to read our names. We'll just call out our vote. You just get us in the queue. You've got one more, Steve.
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Yeah, this one is a resolution for a contract for refuse and recycling collection and hauling services. On April 13th, the Public Works Committee met to review the responses. We had 2 RFPs come back to us, one from our incumbent Pelletieri and a second one from Badgerland, who also returned a RFP. And I believe we have representatives from both on our meeting tonight. I saw out in the attendees. I'm not sure if Adam can promote them. Or if they're on his panel.
Yeah.
Maybe they're on his panelists now. But anyway, before we get to a motion, since this could go either way, I would like to open this up for discussion. I've sent out notes from my research that I've done as far as the services go. Services that Pelletieri provided have been very good. The services that Badgerland could provide look to be the same quality services. I did also send out today, and I apologize for the lateness of it, but the pricing is in terms of an annual amount. I believe if everybody saw those, I believe the difference between the 2 bids was around 165,000 for the current situation, and 200,000 for if we get into a weekly recycling. That over 5 years, you can do the math, but this will be a 5-year contract. Before we get into the discussion, I believe this is more or less a 2-part answer that we need to come up with tonight. The first part of the answer is it this body's intent to look at the current situation, which is every other week recycling, or is the preference to go to weekly recycling? And so
Well,
if it's okay with you, Your Honor, I would like to open it up for that discussion
Well,
first.
no, that isn't okay, Steve, because
Okay.
what we have on the agenda is a resolution.
Mhm.
So there is something coming from Public Works to us for action.
Right.
And so we need to get that on the floor.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
then we can have discussion. And the representatives of the two companies might be here, but this isn't a public hearing. If council members wish to direct them questions, I'll allow that. But
Okay.
I'm not going to create a discussion. And we cannot change the format of that resolution without amending it. So the whole notion of that kind of general discussion would have been a more appropriate committee of the whole, which if we aren't prepared to go ahead, we could refer it back to, we could refer it to the committee of the whole, but I understand our contract is expiring. So time is important here. So we should get the resolution that came from Public Works in front of us, and then we can open it for discussion.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Yeah, yes, you are correct that time is of the essence here. So the resolution was to approve Pelletieri based on the current situation of biweekly recycling.
Okay, and you're making that motion, Steve?
Yes, Your Honor, I will make the motion.
All right, and let's get a second.
I'll second it.
All right, Bob seconds. So now we're into discussion on that motion. Teresa?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a lot of concerns about this particular bid, specifically how we even got to it, starting with our RFP that did not call out sustainability initiatives. I watched some of the Public Works Committee meeting and heard that was a huge selling point. However, that was never on our RFP as something we were looking for or judging our competitors on. So while it was nice that one company provided that information, we never opened it up as an opportunity for the other company to respond or provide the same information to be compared equally. Furthermore, it appeared that there was a clear bias from the start. The limited time to submit a bid, the tight timeline to start the new contract and service, if not the current vendor, timing of reference checks, and when staff recommendations or grading actually took place. There was not clear metrics to determine how to earn the points. Committee members accepted voting in favor because of sustainability initiatives, and we are causing harm and damage to a business because of the way rankings were performed. Badgerland, I do believe, should have higher than an 18 because they do have experience with municipalities of our size and larger. They were graded low because a qualifier was added that because they're not in Wisconsin or not in Dane County. And that was not clear on the RFP as a requirement that they had to prove that or somehow that was going to award them the contract. I'm also just generally concerned about how we as a council have over the years asked and debated, had task force, sustainability, and surveys asking our residents if they want weekly recycling or improvements to the recycle center. And this is our opportunity to actually address that. And that was not in the RFP either. So while I appreciate both companies submitting their weekly recycling options and costs, I don't even know if we can really do that ethically because it wasn't in our RFP. I do want to talk about that. It's something that is important and we are simply not addressing that. And I don't want to wait another 5 years for the opportunity to fix this problem. Just because you may not use it or need it doesn't mean that there's others in our community who don't. So with all of that, I am voting no on staff recommendation. I would rather award this to Badgerland because I think they're actually going to give us a better value for equal or as good of service, possibly even better.
There additional discussion? Steve?
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, I agree with Alder Stevens. I checked out the references and we had situations in communities that were similar to ours where we had an incumbent who was either doing a good job or not a good job, and the municipalities debated on whether they wanted to make the leap of faith to a new contractor. They chose Badgerland, and in all cases, they said they never looked back and they were very pleased with their service. So if going to a new contractor is a concern, if that's the main concern, based on history that I've found, it shouldn't happen in this case. The other thing is, if you had a chance to look over their service levels and comparisons, my biggest fear was that if we moved to a company other than the incumbent, we would be taking a degradation in service. And in the questions that I presented to both companies, the service levels seem to be at the same or at least as good as each other. Those areas you saw in your notes were, whether it was hardship service where people could put their trash bins out by their garage and have it moved, or if it was contacting them on a week that was, let's say, a holiday week, and they got an email or a text saying that, put your trash bin out a week or a day later. All the things were just basically the same. The big difference was the price, and then the question as far as sustainability. Now, I do know, Pelletieri touted their sustainability in their emails, and as Alder Stevens said, we never really asked Badgerland about that. However, I did, and I'm not sure if it's possible to bring up the response in this meeting. I'll let you determine, Your Honor. But I did get a note back from Chris, who was the representative for Badgerland, and there was. It's up to you if I can share that information.
No, I don't think so, Steve, because it wasn't in our packet. We haven't seen it. It hasn't been ours to consider preparation for this evening. Okay. So, Bob Yokish?
Yeah, I support the recommendation from staff. I put a lot of importance to the fact that our city experts have graded out the two proposals and have given higher marks to Pelletieri on this because of things like the use of natural gas trucks, commitment to recycling everything, the positive community experience with Pelletieri, and their experience with Wisconsin municipalities. The difference in price is $1.30 per month, if I understand correctly, per household, which is about $15 a year for each household. And if I understand correctly, Fitchburg made a similar type decision to go with Pelletieri over Badgerland because of the same type of criteria. So, and then I do have a question for Adam about in Illinois, is that Badgerland or is that their parent company that works with the large municipalities?
I believe they do business under Lakeshore Recycling in Illinois.
I see. Thank you. That's my
all
point.
right.
Thank you.
Is there additional discussion on this item? Mike?
Yeah, so I hear there's representatives of each of these companies here. I'd like to ask questions.
Yes, if you have questions to ask, I just don't want them to make a sales pitch to all of us.
Well, one of them might require a sales pitch, which is I've been fielding calls all day about this particular issue, which was garbage. It was about garbage. But Teresa Stevens brought up a point that I had not known. I've been telling people all day that I was most likely going to go with Pelletieri. I did not know that Badgerland did not have an opportunity to put their foot forward regarding their sustainability practices. And as the chair of the Sustainability Task Force, I really think it's my obligation to hear them out if indeed they have something regarding that. So if there's someone here from Badgerland who can make that pitch, I would appreciate it.
So your question is to have them tell you what their sustainability practices are,
Right.
Mike? Okay.
Yes.
Is there somebody here from Badgerland? Is it
Badgerland,
you wanted
yeah.
to hear Badgerland?
Yes, please.
Yes, Chris Roskin was on.
Well, no longer, so I guess I can't address that. Then I do have one question for Pelletieri. Is there someone representing Pelletieri?
Hi, Chris from Badgerland is on. Can you hear me?
Chris,
Oh, yes,
yeah.
Chris.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I think I was given access just at that moment when you asked the question. So apologies for the technical issues here.
No worries.
So thank you for the opportunity to engage in dialogue and answer any questions you guys might have about us. We've been very eager for that opportunity throughout this process. So whenever it comes, we'll certainly take it. And
Chris, we have one question for you, and that is
Yep.
to tell us about your sustainability practices.
Sure, absolutely. So from a sustainability practice, we're operating recycling facilities throughout southern Wisconsin and Illinois. We recycle single stream throughout the area and that geography. We're the largest private recycler and waste company in the Midwest. We have recycling facilities in DeForest. We have a recycling facility that we run adjacent to the Dane County landfill, which operates C&D. We are currently retrofitting our DeForest facility for additional single stream capability that's already approved by the village of DeForest and the state of Wisconsin DNR. We have won multiple sustainability awards over the course of recent years. We've won the Illinois Sustainability Award in 2017 and 2018. We make every effort to promote landfill diversion. We educate our communities. We operate in 26 communities in Wisconsin where we have residential contracts, none to the size of the city of Sun Prairie, but several cities as well as communities starting to approach that size, and many more in Illinois, including the city of Chicago's Blue Cart Recycling Program, which is over 400,000 households. As far as any other specific questions you guys have about our sustainability, I'm happy to answer those. I also have Josh Connell on from our company, who is one of our founders and managing partners. And we are happy to tell you all about our capabilities and any specific questions you have beyond that.
So just one more for you,
good
Chris.
with that?
Yeah, just one more for you, Chris, which is why didn't you put this in your RFP or your proposal? I'm sorry.
I would argue that we did. Michael, and I appreciate the question. We submitted a very detailed proposal. I believe it was in excess of 30 pages, in addition to the city forms that we filled out. And I have the proposal in front of me on pages 4, 5, 9 through 10, 12 through 15. There is significant detail about our sustainability and our recycling initiatives in Wisconsin and Illinois. So I would argue it was there. I would point out that we received no engagement after submitting a proposal that offered $1 million in 5-year contract savings over your current pricing. We did not receive one call from a city staff member to talk about our proposal, answer any questions, get any opportunity to provide further clarification as a qualified bidder offering significant savings to your taxpayers with significant capability to execute.
Okay, it's turning into a sales pitch, but the mayor didn't want. I just wanted to answer the sustainability part. So Adam,
I believe we did.
Adam, I have a question for you now. I'm sorry. This is before I ask Pelletieri. So this stuff was in the proposal and you weighed it out and you thought the Pelletieri was better on the sustainability then?
That's correct.
So you were aware of these things that Badgerland did. Okay, that's what I needed to know. Thank you. All right, now I have a question. Is there a representative from Pelletieri here? Representative for Pelletieri.
I'll check these.
Doesn't appear so.
Okay, well then, I was going to ask them a question, but I guess I'm going to ask the question so the rest of you at least know what the question was, which is, it appears that Pelletieri's bid came in lower than our last 5-year contract with them. Is that correct, Adam?
That is accurate, yes.
So I want to know what kind of cost-effective savings they implemented to be able to get a lower bid this time. Because I wonder how they came up with the number they came up with 5 years ago, and why it was so, because everything else is becoming more expensive. Why is what they just put forward becoming less expensive? Is it because they had competition this time? Did they not have competition last time?
Can you hear me?
Danielle
Yes.
Pelletieri is trying
Yes.
to.
There.
I'm here. I can answer your question.
Okay, fire away.
Alder Jacobs, thank you. So I just want to make sure I heard it because I was being approved to speak. The question that you had, hello everyone, thank you for having me. The question that you had is how can we come in less expensive this round versus 5 years ago, correct?
More specifically was what kind of cost saving measures have you implemented that has enabled you to do this?
Sure. So when we won the bid in 2015, we didn't have the experience. We weren't the incumbent. So we didn't know exactly what our costs would be to service the city. We were the low cost bid responder in 2015. So when we did the bid response, we had to give it our best guess at what the cost to service the city would be at that time. And we were elected to partner with the city at that time. Now going into this RFP response, we know exactly what our costs are going to be to service the city. And we put together our best foot forward, knowing what the costs are to service the city. Additionally, as we have grown over the last few years, we're able to lower our costs because we can spread out those fixed costs over a bigger group of people. And customers as we've grown our customer base. So those would be the two answers to that question, is that we gave our best foot forward knowing the costs that there is to service the city with the services that you have. And the price that we gave was our best foot forward based on that knowledge.
Thank you.
All right. So is there any other discussion on this item, the resolution to select Pelletieri? Is there any other discussion? I see none. So Elena, let's get the roll.
Can we have the motion right back first, please? I'm sorry. Can we have the motion right back?
Yes, it's a motion to approve a resolution approving a contract for refuse and recycling collection and hauling services to Pelletieri.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Bowling,
No.
Crombie,
Crombie, Alder Crombie, you're muted.
Yes, sorry, aye.
Jacobs,
Aye.
Yokish,
Aye.
Polensky,
Aye.
Stevens,
No.
Stocker,
No.
5-3, it passed.
Well, 5. I only had 4 yeses. I must have missed one.
I don't think you had
You
Elder
did-
McElroy.
You didn't call my name.
Did I not? I'm so sorry, Alder. I'm so sorry. Not my day for
It's okay, it's late.
Alder McElroy.
Aye.
So then 5-3 is right. It passes with 5 votes. All right. And we are going to move on our agenda to Marine to Park and Rec. And you're still the council representative.
Thank you, Your Honor. So the only thing we have under Parks, Recreation, and Forestry is a resolution approving an award of contract 21007 for 2021 park improvement projects to S&L Underground Incorporated from Lodi, Wisconsin, and corresponding budget amendment. So basically, the 2021 CIP included the parking lot for the Reserve Park. The project was designed in-house by city engineering staff, and it was put out to bid along with the concrete borders and access sidewalks for our 2021 playground installations. So that's Birkenbein and Grandview Parks will be replaced by WBV, and the Reserve will be newly built. The parking lot portion of the project came in at $103,211. Concrete portion of the project came in at $76,782. $120,000 was budgeted for the parking lot, which did not include stormwater utility infrastructure for the future park shelter on the park site as part of the Reserve Park Master Plan. The cost savings from the parking lot portion of the project will be applied to the concrete work portion of the bid package, along with cost savings from the Orphan Park Tennis Court resurfacing project. However, there is a budget amendment in the amount of $21,295 from Park Fund, which is still needed to cover the concrete sidewalk access and playground border at Reserve Park. The budget amendment in the amount of $17,900 from Stormwater Fund is needed for the stormwater utility infrastructure as part of the Reserve Parking Lot project to serve the future park shelter. Another thing too, S&L Underground, they have done many projects with us, and they've done a satisfactory job. And so I'm going to make a motion that we approve the award of the contract 21007 for the 2021 park improvement projects to S&L Underground Incorporated from Lodi, Wisconsin, and the corresponding budget amendment.
McElroy seconds.
Thank you. Is there discussion on that item? I see none. Elena, let's do the roll.
Bowling,
Aye.
Crombie,
Aye.
Jacobs,
Aye.
Yokish,
Aye.
McElroy,
Aye.
Polensky,
Aye.
Stevens,
Aye.
Stacker.
Aye.
Passes 8-0. And now we're under unfinished business, and it is a resolution approving an amendment and restated tax increment grant agreement between the City of Sun Prairie and Sun Prairie Senior Apartments, LLC. So, Taylor, are you talking to us about this?
Yes, so
Thank you.
this is the Cohen Esri project. So they are getting ready to get underway, and just some final cleaning up of our agreement to match now with their new LLC and match with their construction of their bank financing moving forward. I provided the red line for you, which isn't something I would typically do, but then you could see that those specific changes that were made to the agreement.
Okay.
If there's any questions, I can answer those.
All right. Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
Move
It's
to
not a
approve.
big deal. Thank you, Bob. And is the second?
I'll second.
All right. Teresa seconds. We're into discussion on this item. Is there any discussion? I see none. Elena, let's do the roll.
Bowling,
Aye.
Crombie,
Aye.
Jacobs,
Aye.
Yokish,
Aye.
McElroy,
Aye.
Polensky,
Aye.
Stevens,
Aye.
Stacker.
Aye.
So it passes 8-0. And we're on to new business, resolution approving a development agreement for Colorado Avenue LLC, Colorado Commons. Scott, are you going to do that one with us?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. So this is a development agreement related to the Colorado Commons project that was approved earlier on your agenda, the PIP. This is the development agreement that would cover the installation of public improvements on the property, as well as a park impact fee credit for the in exchange for the dedication of the parkland on the northern edge of the property. So we went over the dedication, or I'm sorry, the park impact fee credit and the land dedication at closed session in the Committee of the Whole earlier this evening. No action was taken on that issue at the Committee of the Whole, but the total credit for the park impact fee would be $411,712. That was the negotiated amount, and that negotiation also went through the Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Commission, and that commission recommended approval. So with that, we are recommending approval of the development agreement this evening.
Thank you, Scott. Is there a motion to approve the agreement?
Move to approve the agreement.
Thank you, Bob. Is there a second?
And I'll second it.
All right. And we're into discussion on that item. Is there any discussion? I see none. Oh, Steve?
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. Scott, is there any takeaways that we could take from this? I know it was an unusual situation, and just wanted to find out if there was any learning we could do if something like this comes up in the future. You don't have to be specific. I mean,
sure. No, I think it's a situation. So unfortunately, this is a situation where the ordinance doesn't dictate for us, the amount of this credit, simply because this was not a situation where the subdivision ordinance came into play. right? So the subdivision ordinance was a guide for helping us provide a value to this piece. I think the developer brought forward some valid points in terms of the opportunity cost they're giving up by dedicating this land, right? So this was a negotiated amount. I would like to think there aren't many parcels out there that are in this situation. For the most part, we will be able to rely heavily on our ordinance. But in this situation, it was, the negotiation was more like the city buying a piece of land, right? And the developer having other thoughts for how to use that land. So that's kind of how we came to the amount, the negotiated amount. I think the developer would have liked to have received a much larger credit. Our initial thoughts were the credit should be somewhat smaller than this, and I think that this is a compromise. The agreement reflects that.
Okay, thank you.
So we have a motion and a second. Is there any additional discussion? Let's do the roll, Elena.
Bowling,
Aye.
Crombie,
Aye.
Jacobs,
Aye.
Yokish,
Aye.
McElroy,
Aye.
Valensky,
Aye.
Stevens,
No.
Stacker.
No.
So it's 6-2, Elena?
6-2, that is correct.
Passes 6-2. And then the last item we have is coming from me, but I will explain its authorship to you. As you're aware, in the United States in the past months, there have been a lot of violence directed towards Asian people. In the spring of last year, maybe in the summer, we did a proclamation stating the city's support for the Asian people in our community because of all the violence then that was occurring as the result of the COVID-19 disease going through the country. And it's either continued or is continued and flaring up. There's been a lot in the news. And while none of those acts have, to our knowledge, taken place in Sun Prairie, our Asian members of the community are going to be concerned about their own welfare and their place in our society and our community. So I spoke with Aaron and Sandy and Jake about the city making a statement again about our support for our Asian community. But we also talked about being more than just a statement. There's so many things happening in the United States. One week it's Asian violence, the next week it's violence towards the Black Lives Matter. The next week it's people trying to move through the borders in southern United States, the Latino people coming through, and we just keep making statements. We're just making sound. And so we agreed that over time, we would take more definitive action. We don't know what that means, but as the first step, Sandy and Jake created this resolution that I'm going to ask you to approve when I'm done, but it reads much like it's a proclamation. And so I would like to address it as a proclamation, but then at the end, I'm going to ask you to approve it. So the 9 of us and our staff are making the commitment and the thing in this community that we're behind this. And as I go through it, there's a paragraph in here that speaks to future actions. And I'm going to highlight that for you. So I know it's late, but just bear with me on this and then we'll be out of here. But this is an important item. This is the future of Sun Prairie. The future of Sun Prairie lies in these groups that are not the dominant people today, but they are going to in the future. Whereas the city of Sun Prairie is committed to advancing equity, honoring our diverse identity, and creating an inclusive culture. And whereas over 2,300 Asian Americans and Pacific Islander residents live in Sun Prairie according to the 2019 U.S. Census Bureau estimate, and greatly contribute to Sun Prairie's economic and cultural vitality. And whereas Asian American and Pacific Islanders have experienced a surge in racially motivated hate crimes involving physical violence and harassment due to a racist rhetoric of blame disseminated about the COVID-19 pandemic. And whereas the existence of anti-Asian legislation and anti-Asian sentiment has been historically prevalent in the United States, from the Chinese Exclusion Act to the Japanese internment during World War II to the rise in violence amongst Asian Muslims and Sikhs after the September 11th terrorist attack. And whereas in the past year, nearly 3,800 incidences of anti-Asian hate and acts of discrimination have been reported throughout the country by the Stop Asian American Pacific Islander Hate from March 20th, 20 to March 2020 to February 2021. And whereas many acts of anti-Asian violence go unreported, perpetuating the model minority myth of compliance and silence, minimizing the oppression and racism many Asian American and Pacific Islanders face. And whereas the recent rise of violence against the Asian American community is part of a larger history of violence against all communities of color. And this is the part where we're making a commitment to future action. Whereas in the coming months, the city of Sun Prairie is committed to engaging in efforts and opportunities to combat racism, xenophobia, and intolerance to protect all members of our community. And whereas Sun Prairie recognizes our strength lies in our diversity, and we call on every member of our community to stand up to all forms of hate, racism, and discrimination, and report incidences of hate and bias. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Common Council of the City of Sun Prairie, Dane County, Wisconsin, condemns acts of racism and violence amongst Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. Be it further resolved, the Common Council hereby affirms its commitment to creating a welcoming and inclusive city and stands united with all members of our community. So I would appreciate a motion to approve that resolution.
Motion to approve.
I think Teresa McElroy was first, and then Maureen, you'll second it. And so now we're into discussion on that. So that language is coming from Sandy and Jake. I think that is an admirably readable, emotional, impactful statement. Sandy and Jake, that was well done. And it certainly speaks to the way I feel about it. Is there discussion on this item? Tina? Yeah, I got you, Tina. Got it.
Start a wave over here. No, I just want to thank you for the work on this, and also looking forward to, a proclamation, but also what are the actions we're doing in our community to lift up and actually take things to action.
Good.
So,
thank you.
looking forward to hearing more.
Mike?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to Jake and Sandy for writing this. I almost made the mistake of complimenting the mayor. I thought he wrote it. I'll say, wow, that was excellent.
No.
Now I know better.
An old worn out accountant doesn't write like that, not that smoothly. It doesn't read. You can tell it as you read these when people have a good knack with the language. So could have been a college professor. Is there any?
Sandy had a.
Somebody else I'm missing.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did also want to recognize Hugh Cha. I did connect with him with his assistance with the resolution. So I'm going to take this opportunity to thank him for that.
Yeah, thank you for telling us that, Sandy. Hugh Chow, who ran for city council a year ago and is on our the real estate tax one. I can't think of it now. The Connie would know which one I
Board of Review.
Thank you. Board of Review. Elena would know. That's big times for the city clerks. Any other discussion? Jake, would you like to say something?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just definitely want to clarify that Sandy and Hugh really took off on the writing. I certainly reviewed it, and I'll certainly be a part of the conversations, but I want to make sure credit is due where credit should be due. So I just want to clarify that.
All right. Well, that's to your credit. Anything
I
else
retract my compliment, Jake.
We better vote on this before it all slides away. Elena, let's do the vote.
Bowling,
Aye.
Crombie,
Aye.
Jacobs,
Aye.
Yokish,
Aye.
McElroy,
Aye.
Polensky,
Aye.
Stevens,
Aye.
Stocker.
Aye.
I would like to proudly publicly announce that we have strongly approved that. Thank you for that. And now we are unfortunately at the end of our meeting. Is there any referrals to the committee of the whole? No referrals? How about announcements? Any announcements? We've kind of worn ourselves out tonight. I think we're done. A motion to approve, adjourn, a motion
Move to adjourn.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. We stand adjourned. Thank you all for your time this evening.